everyone, welcome to my channel Hackers Factory. Today I am going to start with the enumeration part where we'll try to find out the details about the services like FTP, SSH, telnet, DNS, HTTP, etc. This session is for FTP service where we'll understand what can we do if we found port 20 or 21 is open or we found FTP service enabled on any server. Let's start with FTP first. And what is the use of FTP? What kind of attacks we can do or perform on FTP service? So when we talk about FTP, FTP is an internet protocol which is used or which is provided by TCP and IP, and it is used for transmitting files from one host to another. This is also used for downloading the files from the servers. Here you guys can see on my screen that there are two ports on which FTP works. First one is FTP data, the port number 20, and for the FTP control, the port number 21. Now, what is the difference in both these ports? When we talk about port 20, it means the server connecting to the clients, and when we talk about the port 21, it means client connecting to the servers. So when we have a port 20, it means it's open on the server when client make request to the server for a file. And when we have a port 21, it means this is used to send commands to the server, right? So this is the basic difference between these two ports, 20 and 21. And here we have the logins for FTP. Like, we have two type of logins. One is normal user and the second is anonymous user. So when we talk about the normal user, for example, all we have our credentials, like we have a credentials on Facebook, Google, Gmail, right? So that is a kind of normal user. And when we talk about the anonymous user, there is no verification is performed, right? User can log in into the service with an username anonymous, and you can put any password on that. Yeah, either you can put anonymous, and you can directly log in into the FTP console. And the normal user is, when we talk about normal user, mostly when we insert our credentials, it can be attacked by man in the middle attack, or it can be sniffed by man in the middle attack. So the credentials are transmitted in unencrypted form, right? So this is the basic difference between two logins that we have in FTP. So mostly FTP is not secure protocol, so we can use other protocols for the authentication. And now we will go to the part that when we found port 20 or 21 is open, what we can do or what we can perform as a attacker or as a researcher. So let's go to my Kali Linux and to my credentials, and here I'm in the terminal, Kali Linux terminal, and I have a target that is, let me first ping that target 192.168.0.104. Alright, so this one is my target. So what I can do, I can first scan this target and try to identify the port 21 is open or not. So I can just write here -sv -p port 21 and the target name. So this is the just your scan for port 21, and here you guys can see the port 21 is open and service is FTP, and here you can see the version which is running on this service, that is VSFTPD 2.3.4. So when we talk about the FTP version, so there are the version like we have VSFTPD is the version, and we have also a Pro FTPD is there is another version. So these two versions are mostly used on FTP service. If you guys are not aware about this, you can also search it on Google, right? So this is now, from here your enumeration start. Now you know the version detail and the service detail. So as an attacker, what I will do, I'll start enumerating the information on this service. Now what what I have identified, that is the version running on services vs FTPD. So it's also part of banner grabbing, right? It's also part of banner grabbing. Banner grabbing is that is also about the information gathering, right, or enumeration. So here we can also say this is a banner, right? We'll identify after nmap scan, or we can also identify through other techniques. Now let's go for other enumeration part. Now what I can do, I can use here FTP command, try to connect with this service, and you can put the IP address or a target 104 and hit enter. Now here you can see 220. So it's a kind of code that is okay, like we found in 200 okay in application. So it means that your response is okay or your request is okay. So here you can see the banner that you have identified through nmap, or you can also identify through these normal enumeration. Like you can use if we found port 21 is open, you can use FTP, or either you can use telnet nc. So you can identify through all these techniques. Here now you have to enter the credentials. Now remember, you have two type of logins. One is normal login and second is the anonymous login. So here you can try to uh, first you can try to log in with your anonymous. So what I can write here, I can just write here anonymous and hit enter. Now you have to specify the password. So in case when you found anonymous user login, there is no need to put any password. You can just hit enter, right? And here you guys can see the login successful. So this is the first technique where you can try to uh, enumerate the target. And again, open a new console, and here I can use telnet command and the target 192.168.0.104, and here you have to mention the port number. Either you can mention, if you found port 22 or you found port 25, you can just change the port number and you can connect with the service, right? And here I can just write 21 and hit enter, and again you guys can see the information of the banner. So this is a banner. Now again you can use to log in this service. You can just write here user anonymous, and you can also specify pass. This is for password, right? You can write here anything and hit enter. Now you are in the console. Again you are in the FTP console by using anonymous credentials. Now the third thing, you can use nc, right? And 192.168.104, and you have to again mention the port number and hit enter. Now you can see then again the vendor information, and here you can just write user anonymous, hit enter, and you have to mention pass anything. Login incorrect. So why it's showing me? Because I think I have mark a space after username. Again try to do this user anonymous and hit enter. Now you have to specify the password. Let me check. Yeah, now you can see I got login into the console with nc command as well. So these are some of the basic techniques or tools, like telnet is there, right? nc is there. So to connect any service, right? But if you have FTP, then you can connect with FTP as well. Or if you have SSH, then definitely you can use SSH command, right? If you have a telnet, then you can again use telnet, right? So for SMTP, you can use telnet and target and port 25, or you can also use NC. So this is the way to connect with any service. Now again, our task is to identify more information. So for example, I get login into this service. Now let me check if I connected or not. Yeah, so when I write here pwd, this is basically a current directory. So I am in the root, you can see this is pwd. And you can also write here help command to list out the information that what commands is there you can use in the console, or you can use FEAT. This is also a command. Let me check is it work or not. So this is also a command which is used to obtain some information of FTP server, but I don't think so. It's maybe it's outdated, so it's not running here. So you can use help and you can identify what commands you can run on the server. So this is the way where you can identify the information and what important commands you can run here. Like we have a put is there. If you see, you can put any file on the server by using put command, or if you want to uh, receive or you want to download any service, any file from the servers, then you can use get command, right? So if for example as the attacker, if you are attacker, you can insert or send your payload on to the server, then you can use a put command, right? You can just write here put, and you have to mention the file name and the target, right? So you will definitely upload any kind of payload or shell on the server. So how you can get that, you have to just, you can also perform here ftp colon colon and your target name 192.168.0.104 and hit enter, right? So this is also another way to identify the information or enumerate the target. If you found any port open, or if it shows any pop-up, then definitely you have to run some of the attacks like brute force, right? Dictionary attack. And otherwise, if there is a anonymous login is enabled, then you can also try that onto the console to identify the information. So this is what you can do with the FTP service. And now again, if we go for the vendor, this is the vendor. Now what we can do with the vendor, we can search this information on Google. Like what I can do, I have to copy this, sorry, I copied this, and here you can just write this. And if you want to write exploit or vulnerabilities, you definitely found a lot of information related to this particular service, sorry, this particular version or a banner. So you can see here first link where you can see the information related to the exploit, right? This is basically the vulnerability name backdoor command execution, right? And here you, this is the way of exploitation of this service or this version. So you can implement all these commands to exploit this service, right? And I will also do all these things in my upcoming session. When I started the exploitation part, I will cover all these things, right? So don't worry about these particular things. And again, you have also another service of FTP, another version of FTP like Pro FTP. You can also use, see the exploit related to Pro FTPD, right? It if you found any other version, then definitely you can search according to that on Google or exploit DB. So there are a lot of things, a lot of vulnerabilities according to the server, according to the versions, right? So this is another way to identify the information or to enumerate the target. And again, another thing, so suppose you have to download all the things from the server, right? You found the FTP port open. What's your another approach? You have to download all files from the FTP server. So what you can do, you can use wget command, right? Wget, this is also used for to connect the servers and used to get the information from the server. You can use man as well. If you don't know about the wget, then you can use manual. and you can also check the help for this wget command. If I use wget hyphen m, and here I can use ftp colon sorry slash slash and anonymous. For example, we have anonymous login enabled, so what we can do, we can use anonymous, this is username and this is for password, and then at the rate your server or a target name. So here I will put my 192.168.0.104 and hit enter. So here you guys can see it has logged in, and these are the commands which is running on the which has run on the server, and it's see the listing, and here it has downloaded one file. What it will do, here you can see the information. Sorry, there is no such file, so it has not identified any file on the server. So this is the, but this is the way through which you can identify the information, or you can download the information from any server, right? So if you found any port open, then if you if that is a part, if that is a part of your testing, when you perform any network or web, then you can definitely use these things to identify or to gather more information from that target, right? And also one most important thing, there there are default scripts in nmap. You can also use those scripts, like I am going to that path user share nmap scripts, and here you guys can run grep and ftp. So you can see these scripts related to all ftp, and you can run this script to identify more information on of that target. So what I can do, I can just run nmap. Sorry, first of all I have to clear this information. So here you guys can run nmap hyphen small less capital C. This is basically run the default script of the on the port. So what I can do, I can use hyphen sc, or if you guys just want to run a single script or a multiple script together, then you can just write hyphen script. But I can use simply hyphen small s capital C hyphen sv 192.168.0.107, sorry 104, and you have to don't forget to mention the port number. So I mention all the things, and here you can see my scripts that is run on this particular service. Here you guys can see first script, that is ftp anon. It will show you the information that there is a ftp anonymous login allowed, right? And the second script is related to the status. Here you can see, so this is the information where you can see the banner information, secure fast table. So this is all about some of the scripts. So this way you can also run the scripts on the server. So if, for example, if you found any port related to smtp25, then you can just search for those script of nmap or nsc scripts, and you can mention or you can run the command, and you can also identify the information to that target, right? Now again go to my slide, and here, so attacks on ftp you can see here. So there are different attacks that we can perform on the ftp server or ftp service. So we can perform brute force attack, right? We can perform ftp bounce attack. So there is also script, default script of nsc for ftp bounce, right? And we can also perform packet capturing, right? For example, if you log in onto any service or ftp service, you can just run your nmap, sorry, run your wireshark, and you can capture the packets in the network, and you can sniff the information related to the username, password, or any sensitive information which is on the ftp service, right? Port stealing you can do, spoofing attacks you can perform. User enumeration, it's a kind of packet capture. It's a part of also packet capturing. And DOS and DDoS, these attacks you can also perform through, sorry, you guys can also perform on the FTP. I think there is already by default scripts in the uh, and in the nmap engine, right? And then for, if you guys want to perform any brute force or dictionary attack, then this is the GitHub link, and here you can see the list of default username and password. Let me see this. Here I have clicked on this, and here you can see the list of default username and password on FTP. So you can perform, or you can create an attack like brute force, dictionary based, through these kind of proper default pass list. So we can also say these are some of the disadvantages on FTP service, right? Like we can sniff traffic in the network, right? We can perform MITM attacks, we can perform brute force attack, right? And then when we talk about the anonymous login, if anonymous login is enabled, you guys can check the configuration file which is in the etc directory, right? If the configuration is not set properly, like the anonymous login is set to enable, then you have to disable that, or you can remove these default things from your configuration file, right? So this is all about your FTP service. If you guys have any query, any doubts, you can just ping me in the comment section. And I hope you like my session. Thank you. Stay tuned for my upcoming sessions.